The Big E Sports Show.
Yeah, we got it going on,
The fastest hour in sports entertainment. We don't just talk about the headlines. We bring you some of the most engaging and colorful guests each and every episode for your listening pleasure. Now, without further ado, here's your host, Elissa Walker-Campbell.
Hey, welcome back to the Big E Sports Show. I'm your host, Elissa Walker-Campbell, and so excited to welcome in one of the brightest basketball minds and storytellers in the game today. He is an author, Fox Sports NBA insider, Yaron Weitzman. He is the author of his new book, Hollywood Ending, The Dreams and Drama of LeBron's Lakers, which has generated a ton of buzz for its behind-the-scenes storytelling, especially the Will Smith storyline that caught everyone's attention. Today, we're going to unpack the book. We're going to talk about its creation and get your own perspective on the state of the NBA this year. It's good to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, congratulations on the success of your new book, A Hollywood Ending, The Dreams and Drama of the LeBron Lakers. How surprised are you that most people have gravitated towards this Will Smith story?
Not surprising. I would say that was one of those I kind of knew I had it when I got it. You know, I actually, the first time I heard that story, I was, I gotta give the background, right? The basics of it is that a visit from Will Smith helped exacerbate some of the tensions that were existing and bubbling between Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. So I remember actually when I heard the first time someone told me it, I was on my couch. It was a phone interview, and I get off the phone. I go to my wife. I'm like, I think we just got the excerpt. And I think this is going to be it. This is the one. So I kind of knew.
Well, and your book does dig into the Lakers behind-the-scenes drama. I mean, what did you learn about Russell Westbrook's frustrations with LeBron?
Yeah, so part of it, so you got to go back. LeBron wanted Westbrook to come there, and Westbrook wanted to go to L.A. That was sort of the homecoming, and he was excited about it. And it was a disaster on the court. Westbrook, as we've seen many times with many teams since, doesn't like fitting in. He struggles sort of to it. He's not really open or willing to adjust his game and fit in. And he's also just production has really fallen off. So it's not going well. And then that summer, after his first year there, things go poorly. Nets want to trade Kyrie Irving, and LeBron starts making it very clear that he wants the Lakers to trade for Kyrie Irving. What this has to do with Russell Westbrook is that it's not possible in terms of the salary cap for the Lakers to make a trade for Kyrie Irving without trading Russell Westbrook. LeBron, he was very aware of that. So Westbrook takes this as LeBron's trying to trade me type of thing. And what bothers him is that LeBron, that's happening, but in public, LeBron keeps saying how much he supports Russ. He wants Russ to be Russ, all that stuff. So Westbrook sort of feels like there's a phoniness to LeBron. And that gets exacerbated in this meeting where Will Smith comes, and then they're about to go get him, and LeBron walks out a back door before Will Smith gets there, says, I don't want to be part of this. You guys got this. Anthony Davis follows. Will Smith ends up coming in and does a 30-minute speech, and the way it's explained to me is that one hand goes up over and over and over and over, and it's LeBron's. And the way it's explained to me is Westbrook sitting there sort of thinking like the guy who wanted to leave is now asking all these questions, and he says to a teammate later, I hate that fake leap. So it kind of shows the tension. The funny part, though, is the idea that like LeBron's quote-unquote phoniness has anything to do with why the Westbrook experience poorly in L.A. is not connected to reality, right? Like that was on Westbrook and his inability to play, unwillingness to fit in. But it is a sort of an interesting lens into sort of how these things work behind the scenes.
Well, and we talk about Russell Westbrook, but it was also some of his teammates that really questioned LeBron's authenticity. So from your reporting, just how real was the divide between what LeBron said publicly and how he handled things privately?
I mean, it depends. It's not to say the divide between what he's saying publicly and privately. The way I kind of describe LeBron is that the phrase I've landed on is like he's a bit of a front runner. So what I mean is that if he feels like the team can win and he feels like there's a legit chance at a title or contention, he is an A+ leader and just so in on it. And like there are stories that I heard, leading up to the 2019-2020 season, like preseason, he's in the bubble year, but the preseason before that, he's organizing player-only camps, and he's sending out memes of like Lions, the group chat, and just being this, again, A+ leader. It's when he feels like the team is not necessarily up to par that you see some of the passive-aggressive behavior, him coming in and, not necessarily having his teammates back. Like there was a story of his first month with the team. I think it was the first month. There's a scuffle between Rajon Rondo's on the Lakers then and Chris Paul was on the Rockets, and LeBron's friends with Chris Paul. And there's a scuffle between Rondo and Paul. And LeBron basically goes to Paul's side, and some Brandon Ingram and some other younger players that that bothered them. They kind of thinking like he wasn't in their corner and he was sort of apart. So it's not necessarily a divide, more that how he carries himself within the locker room and around the players it can fluctuate.
A Hollywood ending, the dreams and drama of LeBron's Lakers. I guess, what does the LeBron Westbrook experiment teach us about the limits of star power and chemistry? Obviously, those two did not get along.
Yeah, I would say it's more of like, it's sort of it's an old Steve Nash quote that like professional athletes die twice. And just what he's talking about is sort of that reckoning, like the way you have to reckon with your skills no longer being what they once were. We've seen that in many places. And that to me was like, that's the Westbrook thing there, is that, again, a lack of an inability to reckon with, maybe I need to be a role player here. And not willing and not seeing himself as, but recognizing that he's no longer the MVP that he once was, right? And how that can play into, and what that requires of him.
The title of Yaron's new book is A Hollywood Ending, the dreams and drama of LeBron's Lakers. And this book took roughly 3 years to complete. What was perhaps the most challenging part of that process?
I think the most challenging part is the Lakers. Listen, later on, reporting's hard, but later on, the Lakers threatened to sue me to prevent me from publishing this book. So that'll be up there.
Wow.
That's probably the answer.
Yeah. So what is just one thing that you were able to, find out from behind the scenes that fascinated you the most about the power and personalities in the NBA?
I think one of the things that I learned is that kind of goes to show you that, like, there's the idea that LeBron runs the Lakers and the clutch sports Lakers and all that. And to me, actually, what I learned is that was a bit overblown. There were examples. One great example is 2019, going into his second year. So before there were any issues, like going into his second year, he wants the Lakers to hire Ty Lue, and they don't. And that's a great example. There are different reasons they don't hire him, but I kind of believe one is that they were worried about having someone who's perceived as sort of a LeBron ally, which I disagree with, because one of the things Ty Lue was good at is him and LeBron had a great relationship, but that was in part because Ty Lue was willing to sort of stand up to LeBron in huddles and things like that, where in a way where other coaches might not. So, like, the Lakers don't do that. They don't trade for Kyrie Irving, like I mentioned earlier. So there are different examples of they don't do what LeBron quote unquote wanted. Yeah, they were willing to do things on the margins, whether it's using a second round pick on Bronny or other clutch players, 10th man or whatever. But it just kind of shows, like the Ty Lue thing specifically, I think there was a wariness in having, like I said, a guy who's perceived as a LeBron guy in the building, and I think it shows how sort of egos and the desire to, the need that people have to feel like they're remaining in control and they're in charge can get in the way of basketball decisions.
Well, as we talk about LeBron James, how much more does he got in the tank? And how do you think he wants his legacy to be framed?
The tanks, I would be surprised. I think we're going to get one more year after this. So no one really knows. My answer is sort of, I don't know, but I think he's genuinely unsure of how he wants his career to end. I don't think we'll see 9 more years from him. I don't think we're going to see him hang on. I think we'll get probably 1, maybe 2. I would be surprised if we get anything more past the end of next season. In terms of his legacy, that was part of what he's very legacy-minded and image-conscious. And I think part of the reason he went to LA is so he could see if he could bring them another title and build out, sort of preparing for his post-playing days, which he's been very clear he wants to own an NBA team. That'd be really interesting if he's able to do that. And I think if he's able to do that, that's something where, like, if you could be successful, that's something where you can maybe separate yourself from guys like Michael Jordan, who was not successful on the court, obviously, Nike, but his reign as Hornets owner was not great.
Well, let's turn to the present as we wind down our interview. What are just some of your biggest takeaways from the 2025-26 season? What have you seen so far?
From the Lakers?
Yeah.
That Austin Reeves looks incredible, right? Seems to be have arrived and be a legit number 2 and be ready to sort of be co-star, sort of the way, almost ironically, but the way Kyrie Irving was to Luka the year in Dallas the year they made the finals. I'm fascinated. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how LeBron goes about reintegrating himself into the team when he comes, as they're playing well. I think we're seeing that, Rob Pelinka, he's made many mistakes, Lakers GM Rob Pelinka, but hiring JJ Redick looks like it was a good move. Trading for and then extending Rui Hachimura a few years ago looks like a great move. Austin Reeves draft looks like could be one of the steals of one of these modern day all-time steals that we see. And Luka thing obviously it fell into his lap, but you got to execute it. So the takeaway is I think the Lakers are pretty well positioned, all things considered.
Yaron Weitzman, his new book, Hollywood Ending, the Dreams and Drama of LeBron's Lakers. And as a journalist, as a storyteller, just what continues to excite you the most about covering the NBA? What keeps you going?
I love, his personalities personalities and characters, and it makes it a little easier to write about them. And, they're between they're in jerseys, they're not covered in helmets, they're close. So there's a connection that then opens the door for interest, and people are interested and want to know more about them. The NBA's got a bit of a high school cafeteria feel to it, which I sort of enjoy. Like the way I describe it is I like to write about the things that happen behind the scenes that we don't see that impact or lead to what happens on the court that we do see. And I just think there's just a lot going on there.
Yeah. It is a fascinating read, A Hollywood Ending, the dreams and drama of LeBron's Lakers. It's sharp, insightful, and full of all those moments that basketball fans love. We look forward to visiting with you again later this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You bet.